It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News. Actually, welcome to the Will Power Chair and Scoot Around Wednesday Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 11th day of January 2023, coming to you from Bedford County, Virginia, in the Central Virginia area. Headlines this morning: flights grounded across the U.S., newest Viking ship christened by an astronaut, AIDA and Costa switch back to diesel fuel, and Riverside purchases the remaining Crystal Riverships. That and a lot more here live at 11 o'clock today. If you're listening via the podcast, of course, welcome aboard. You can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from, all the big hitters. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the Fat Travel Guy. Anytime that you're listening via the podcast, you can always jump over to the video feed in the description of the podcast. There's always a link which will allow you to do just that. All right, do have a couple things to cover here this morning before we get on with the business at hand. I've said several times what kind of busy week I have. First of all, let me say I had a wonderful meeting yesterday with John Sage. He will be coming on this show one day soon. Yesterday was more of a business kind of thing. I'm going to be doing some things for him in the future. But he's going to come on the show to talk about some of the accessible excursions across the industry, the costs of them, why they're expensive as they are, and what you can do if you're looking for at least an option that many times we can't find on a cruise ship. Anyway, it was an excellent. It was the first time I've actually met John, and it was a very, very informative. Probably close to an hour we spent together. And this was what was started getting advertised around the UK yesterday. I'll be on Melissa's show on Friday afternoon, my time, 2 o'clock, 7 o'clock UK time. That will be fun. Of course, I will give you guys all a link for that as we get closer to it. But that's Melissa's channel, Cruise Shop Safe. So it's Melissa McCormick Davis. Looking forward to that on Friday. And my friends, Barry and Sue, to this morning actually are in Bonaire. Relatively early this morning. That was a look from their look at Bonaire from their balcony. Yeah, Bonaire. I love the ABC Islands. Always have. I love Bonaire as much as any. And that was a look twice actually to the west. And last night they went to the AIDA show. They did an Elton John show several nights ago, Aretha last night, and they said it was just as good. So if you're on the celebrity edge, there is really some outstanding entertainment. So it's, again, tremendous interest in the solo cruises coming up May the 1st that Justin from Mr. Bucket List and I will be hosting. Sails out of Miami. Goes, as a matter of fact, does not go to Bonaire, but it does go to Aruba, Curacao, Panama, Costa Rica. So it's a nice itinerary, and yeah, Justin and I are going to have fun. So I had a message from Pete this morning. It looks like everything is finally pinned down, so we'll probably be doing a live on the pricing and so forth that we didn't have Saturday here soon, shortly, like tomorrow or, anyway, we'll be on live real quick on that. All right, I'll be back with today's news after a quick break from one of our network sponsors. All right, things have been nuts this morning, folks. This is at O'Hare Airport in Chicago. Flights across the United States were affected this morning when the Federal Aviation Administration said it experienced a computer outage. At 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the system was totally shut down until 9 a.m. The system was restarted just before 9 a.m. As of just a few minutes ago, the last numbers that I had was that 4,900 flights have been delayed, 800 flights canceled. Today, more than 21,000 flights were scheduled to take off. Now we have to monitor the cascading effect that, this all has cost. The numbers of flights delayed hopefully won't grow too much higher. However, the number of flights canceled probably will. Remember what happens in these situations, folks. Everything is thrown off schedule. So virtually everything happened early this morning. I knew about it last night. I didn't quite understand that part of it. But they started canceling flights and delaying flights early this morning. The FAA said in a notice on its website that the notice to air missions system had failed. A NOTAM is a notice containing information essential to workers involved in flight operations, specifically the pilot. They need to know the conditions and so forth of the airport they're not only taking off from, but the airport they're landing in, and that's what this system did. So basically, the flights were kind of left in the dark. For anybody that was in the air this morning when this whole thing shut down, there was no issue on people safely getting in. They could actually use air traffic controllers, would just have more responsibility and could guide a pilot in, but you can't sit there and do that for 21,000 flights. So there were several instances, like there was a flight from Heathrow in London that people sat on the plane for 3 hours before they could take off. And once they got the notice, actually about 8 o'clock, that it was going to start up again before 9, they were able to take off and start the journey across the pond. Stories like that all over the place this morning. One lady had a flight at 6. It was delayed until 12, then delayed again until 6 tonight. Finally, she said, the hell with this, I'm going home. I don't blame her. A lot of people were notified from various airports not to show up yet until they, had specific word from their airline. So it was handled a lot of different ways. But, just less than 10 days from when Southwest caused the whole world to go upside down. And now the FAA system crashed today. And who knows how bad it's going to get before they get caught up. How much baggage is going to get lost and stacked up like the Southwest luggage did. We're just going to have to see, how bad the cascading effect is. The cause of the disruption at this point is still to be determined. So, bad day for aviation in the U.S. I wouldn't want to be flying anywhere today. All right, the Viking Neptune was christened, and it's the newest ocean vessel of Viking, of course. They had a celebration this weekend in Los Angeles. As part of the event, the ship's godmother, retired NASA astronaut, aquanaut, and artist Nicole Stott, offered a blessing of good fortune and safe sailing for the ship. The vessel is currently sailing Viking's 2022 and 2023 world cruise, a 138-day voyage from Fort Lauderdale to London that is visiting 57 ports in 28 countries. Viking Neptune is the 8th ocean ship in Viking's fleet, and in April will be followed by the 9th, the Viking Saturn. These are pretty cool ships with 930 guests. The thing that makes Neptune a little different is that it is equipped with a small hydrogen fuel system, making it the cruise industry's first ship to test the use of hydrogen power for onboard operations. So, congratulations to Viking and the Viking Neptune. And I'm going to pause in the news here for a second. It's not the biggest news day in the world. To tell you a little personal news, sort of. I thought I had wiped off yesterday one of my big bucket list items. You guys all know that I've been basically bargain hunting, bottom feeding for cruises. I'm looking for cheap, first and foremost. I found a bargain from Santiago, Chile to Fort Lauderdale. And I'm talking about a really nice price. I mean, considering that I'm, solo. Then I thought, well, man, flying to Chile has got to be expensive. And I'm thinking, well, that'll price me out of the market right there. So since my next flight's out of Richmond, I plunked in Richmond to, it's actually San Antonio, Chile, which is where the port is. It's the Santiago Airport. And it wasn't bad. It was like $430 or something. So then I said, well, let's check DC while I'm doing it. So I went back and plugged in DC, 360 or something. And I'm saying, holy cow, I can afford that. I'm going to end up in Fort Lauderdale, so I have to get home from Fort Lauderdale. But, that's, that can't be that bad. So I'm thinking, man, I'm going to do this. It's taken me from the end of March into April, which I have open in my schedule. I don't have anything in the schedule after I do my scheduled Baltimore cruise with our buddy 30 and a Wake Up He and I are going to be on that ship together. But anyway, I'm getting ready to jump all over this. I said, oh, I better check with Scooter out first. They don't have anything in South America. So, and there's no way I would attempt, number one, to fly with my little scooter and then trying to do a big ship for a long, it was bad enough for 3 days on my little scooter. But to do a major cruise on a major bucket list item, I would be miserable. So I had to give it up. Maybe I can find, the same cruise at some point from Fort Lauderdale down there and do it backwards. At least I know I can get a scooter. So anyway, so my friends at Scooter Around, who I love dearly, and they're doing really good on expanding in Europe. They just haven't gotten to the point of the South American market yet. So I had to give up on a bucket list cruise. All right, got a couple other news stories this morning. That would be AIDA. Two of Carnival's European-based cruise brands, AIDA and Costa, switched their low-emission LNG-powered ships to diesel fuel because of the high prices of liquefied natural gas. The German brand AIDA has been operating the AIDA Nova and the AIDA Cosma ships on marine gas oil for a couple weeks now, given that LNG costs rose sharply as a result of the breakdown of gas flow from Russia to Europe. Costa also suspended the use of LNG on the Costa Smeralda and Costa Toscana. According to Costa Cruises, the ships will be powered on MGO, that's marine fuel, of course, until the LNG market stabilizes. And the last story today has to do with basically the other side of the pond. Riverside Luxury Cruises has which bought Crystal Mozart in November last year, has purchased the remaining 4 riverboats from Crystal Cruises. In addition to Crystal Mozart, which was renamed Riverside Mozart, the fleet now includes MS Bach, MS Debussy, MS Mahler, and MS Ravel, now known as Riverside Bach, Riverside Debussy, Riverside Mahler, and Riverside Ravel, respectively. The ships are now available for booking. The line is also offering travel advisors a 21% commission for 2023 cruises, along with introductory family rates. In April, Riverside Mozart is slated to begin operating on the Danube, Riverside Ravel on Rhone and Sion cruises, and Riverside Debussy on Rhine voyages. Riverside Bach and Riverside Mahler are expected to debut in 2024 on itineraries to be announced later in 2023. So congratulations to Riverside and their expansion in the river markets. So that's actually going to wrap up the news portion of today's broadcast. So let's go see who's in the chat room. And if anybody is fussing at me today, yo, Brooklyn in the house. Hi, Eddie. Hi there. Tom is here. Says hi to everybody. Rats, I received a card in the mail while we were away from Park West. They were offering a free celebrity cruise. I went to the indicated site and the only cruise listed were January to April. Sorry about that. And I'm sure you heard about an issue with a Park West employee on a Princess ship. Wasn't a very good story. But it doesn't make all Park West people bad. Sonny's with us. Hi, Sonny. Amy's here. Says, happy Wednesday to everybody. With having a 36-day cruise, January 36th. No, hot air time. It's not January 36th to March, and then a 7-day in April. Hard to take advantage of the freebie. Well, yeah, that's true too. Mike's with us. Good morning, Mike. It will be interesting to see why the FAA system went down. I suspect foul intentions from some bad party. I don't know. I'm more likely to think that the system is outdated. But yeah, this is going to be a major headache all day long, not just at the hubs, but all the trickle down from this is just going to be, it's going to be just like things were in the middle of the holidays when Southwest canceled everything in the world. Hopefully it won't be that bad, but at least, they're starting to fly now. It doesn't mean they're going to be caught up real quick, but, at least they're working on it. Sad about Bonaire. When we ported there last year, I was coughing so bad the prior night and opted not to go off the ship. Never saw anything. Sorry about that. I like Bonaire. Aha, to let you know, I am paying attention. Chillie's Cruises. The hair part is backwards today and the picture's reversed. Oh, because I'm using my hair is parted. I don't know. I'm using my webcam, my phone today, instead of my webcam. But actually, that's the way it is. You're seeing it. You're seeing me the way I am. You can, oh no, my shirt is backwards, isn't it? So, I don't know if I can change that while I'm on the air. I'm not going to try to because I'm liable to kick myself off. Hot air time, you're exactly right, and I'm reversed. Cindy's with us. Time to work a deal with Scooter Round for a purchase of a good scooter. Well, that's not the whole problem. Even if I had a scooter, a good scooter, would I want to take a chance on a flight that long and the damage that they've been known to do with scooters and then be possibly stuck in Santiago and not be able to use the scooter if something would happen to it on the way down? So that would be putting myself at risk. So that, unfortunately, that's not going to work. I wouldn't do that even if I had a big scooter, a comfortable scooter, until the airlines get much better at handling scooters. So, hi, Rich. Rich says, I suspect this ends up being a result of 32-year-old FAA system starting to fail. Me too. That's my thought exactly. Gail's with us. Hi, Gail. She says, good morning to everybody. Looking forward to the news for our new USA cruises. Me too. I'm getting so frustrated. But at least, and I'll tell you the way, Gail, I know about to get the news that we wanted, because they finally said, oh, we have to give Chillie an accessible cabin. And they called me for all the information that they need for that. So that's, I mean, I'm assuming today, tomorrow, we'll have the numbers and be ready to rock and roll. And I have no idea if these are going to be a great deal or a not so great deal until I see. I do know that in Europe they've had some awesome numbers. Yeah, they've done several cruises, and they had the one big one with 300 people on it, and there was another 100 on board the ship. So there was actually 400 solo cabins on that one cruise. Jan's Family Adventures is with us. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Glad to see you back again. Cindy says, missed the beginning. What happened with Bonaire? Oh, nothing happened with Bonaire. Hot Air Tom missed out on Bonaire. My friends, Sue and Barry, were in Bonaire today. So they had some shots off their balcony this morning of landing in Bonaire. And then they went to the AIDA show last night. I tell you what, I mean, guys know that I go to bed early, but that's two shows that I would not have missed no matter what. Elton John and Aretha. That's two of my favorite all-time entertainers. So yeah, I would definitely go to those retrospectives or whatever you want to call them. Anyway, all right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. This afternoon at 2:00, and I'm not sure if this is the actual taping of the podcast or if the producer just wants to line up their T's and cross their I's. I do know I'm going to be a guest this weekend on a podcast in Norfolk with my friend Patrick. Patrick is a foodie. He's one of the food experts in Virginia. Goes around and rates restaurants all over the state, is well known. He's even well known here in Lynchburg. But he's also a cruiser and has invited me to be on his podcast. So I will also have more information on that after this afternoon. But that's sometime this weekend. I'm not even sure when. So it's one of the busy things I'm doing this week. Mr. Bucket List will be with us Friday also. So we're looking forward to that. And we're going to talk about drones and filming cruise ships with drones. So that'll be an interesting little side challenge. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. Thank you for being with me. If you're new to the channel, we always appreciate thumbs up. That helps the channel out a lot. If you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. The bell notification lets you know anytime I go live or when a new video is up. So that also helps the channel out a bunch. And that's going to wrap me up for today. As always, guys, stay safe, stay healthy. Think about cruising. Hopefully one day soon, we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a fantastic day, everybody.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you'd like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.